Shout out to everybody here. My name is Samuel James Price, and I do a show, The Crypto Lifer Show. I'm the Crypto Lifer. You guys are the lifers. Together, we make an amazing show every single day. And I want to talk about the news. That's right. There's news coming out as things to talk about, and more stuff coming in AI. We're going to break it down for you. Let's show you what's happening in the news every single day. ChatGPT-style crypto app sets AI loose on Fed rate Bitcoin price relationship. The team behind Hong Kong-based Chain of Demand has built investment analytic engines for financial institutions and data providers like Bloomberg. Riding the artificial intelligence popularity wave, investment data analytics firm Chain of Demand is providing a widget that examines Bitcoin price movements around the time of the U.S. interest rate changes, just ahead of Wednesday's Federal Reserve rate announcement. The Chain of Demand dashboard creators, who have worked on complex machine learning engines with financial institutions and data providers such as Bloomberg, have pivoted into AI chatbots, specifically the popular language recognition engine ChatGPT. Technology-focused hedge fund tend to hire postgraduates with science backgrounds to conduct complex statistical analysis on very large data sets or to apply natural language processing. The explosion of generative AI platforms is leveling the playing field and is potentially well-matched to the retail-first crypto trading space. An investor invested in Bitcoin price movements around Fed rate announcements, for example, would want fast and easy access to a range of insights that go much deeper than the generic ChatGPT response. We add in our own data sets and signals, he said in an interview with CoinDesk. When looking at the Bitcoin price the day after the last 10 Fed rate announcements, I can then ask what else impacts the price. So that could be indicators of social sentiment around Bitcoin and whale transactions over 100,000, for example. This week, Fed's rate hike pattern modular offers a teaser of what's to come, Max said. The Hong Kong-based company dashboard is in beta testing and will be rolled out in about 2 months. We'll be able to get more insight possibly into what's going to happen to Bitcoin with the Fed hikes. That's pretty interesting, to say the least. U.S. SEC out of bounds and dragging DeFi into proposed exchange rule. Industry says the agency's comment window is closing for its proposal to expand how it defines exchanges, including a major swath of decentralized finance. And the crypto sector is objecting. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission wants to stretch how it identifies exchanges. It needs to regulate, and the agency's inbox is jammed with crypto industry letters accusing it of reaching well beyond its legal powers and potentially forcing rules on services the platforms need, such as electric companies. The most recent rewrite of the agency's exchange proposal in April would explicitly absorb decentralized finance into the world of exchanges subject to the SEC rules and oversight, arguing that an updated rule would help modernize the securities regulator approach. The SEC had Tuesday's deadline for public input. But the crypto industry advocates and lobbyists argue that the new rule, if finalized, would violate the First Amendment rights of coders and would double down on what they see as the SEC's ongoing era of failing to treat the sector as something new. The proposal would operate as a blanket de facto banishment of DeFi from the United States. The DeFi Education Fund, a lobbying group, wrote in its comment letter, "The actions and words of the commission and agency personnel have created great confusion. The agency proposal suggests that the protocols designed to bring together buyers and sellers of securities, so-called communication protocols, now perform a similar enough role to exchanges that they should be regulated as such." The idea, though, it's the people that own it and the people that go back and forth. That's the key here. You know what I mean? And so if the people go back and forth and the people own it, and there's not one issuer and market maker, then it doesn't really fall under a centralized exchange. This could pull key outside services into the SEC's web, such as messaging services and utility companies that provide electricity to platforms, the group argued. Crypto investment firm Paradigm weighed to defend decentralized exchanges that do not have centralized management the securities rules are accustomed to dealing with. Yeah, you're going after an entity or person that's saying they're going to do this. This is just code that operates between people. You can't really regulate a code, an AML that's an automated market liquidity creator. I mean, it's kind of crazy what's happening. They don't understand what's going on. They're confused. What they realize is they're not going to be able, they're trying to put a genie back in a box. You can't put it in the box. It just doesn't happen like that. Uniswap Lab releases its plans for Uniswap v4, invites community feedback. The biggest decentralized crypto exchange is opening its development process to the public for the first time as the SEC cracks down on its centralized competitors. Uniswap Labs, the team behind the decentralized finance juggernaut Uniswap, announced the vision for the next iteration of its crypto exchange platform, Uniswap v4. For the first time ever, Uniswap Labs is inviting community feedback on Uniswap v4 before its public launch. The strategy, focused on community input, is meant to underscore Uniswap's dedication to decentralization. It's a key difference meant to separate the decentralized exchange from centralized exchanges, such as Coinbase and Binance, which are currently facing lawsuits from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Uniswap is generally credited for popularizing automated market makers, a type of blockchain-based computer program or smart contract, AMMs, that facilitate trades between cryptocurrencies without the use of intermediaries. Uniswap v3, the platform's latest version, debuted in 2021 on Ethereum blockchain and has since expanded to multiple additional networks. As of now, Uniswap v3 is the largest decentralized exchange by trading volume, having processed over 1 trillion in transactions since its inception. With the v4 upgrade, the developer plans to expand the DEX's coin swapping capabilities with the introduction of hooks and custom liquidity pools. In a blog post on Tuesday, Uniswap Lab CEO Hayden Adams described hooks as plugins to customize how pools, swaps, fees, and LP positions interact. According to Adams, the new functionality could pave the way for things like on-chain limit orders and dynamic fees, features that might be available on more traditional exchange platforms but are harder to implement in a blockchain setting where there are no intermediaries or centralized order books. Adams also indicated that the draft code for Uniswap v4 will introduce performance improvements and fee reductions. Uniswap is permissionless, meaning anyone can create pools to facilitate the buying and selling of compatible crypto tokens. Under the v4 proposal, Adams says the network gas fees required to list new pools will be sliced by 99%. The proposed licensing model for Uniswap v4 is the Business Source License 1.1, the same license used by Uniswap v3. The license delays competitors from using Uniswap's code base to create their own applications, as several popular DEX use slightly modified versions of Uniswap's code base to power their systems. It's a step towards increased decentralization, and this is what we're looking for. This is the plan. This is kind of what we want. And this is interesting, and that's why, like, how do you regulate an AMM? It's just code. How do you tell code that it has to protect investors? You know what I mean? They're interacting with the code. That's what they do. We're taking that on upon ourselves.